So today we will talk about mitochondrial DNA in evolution. Basically, this mitochondrial DNA is very important in evolution. It is very important in evolution, right? Okay, one thing to remember, you guys, that this mitochondrial DNA is basically arrived from the mother. So from in baby, the mitochondrial DNA has come from its mother, right? So it is basically transformed, you can say this is transformed from mother to baby, right? So basically this mitochondrial DNA, we can write it like mDNA. mDNA means mitochondrial DNA. Basically it has a unique pattern of inheritance. Okay, it has unique pattern of inheritance, right? It has a unique pattern of inheritance, and that unique pattern is basically known as uniparental inheritance, right? That unique pattern which mitochondrial DNA actually follows is known as uniparental inheritance, right? Basically in our nuclear DNA, like in, for example, take example of a nuclear DNA, right? Consider it like we have having a nuclear DNA. Basically in our nuclear DNA, consider this is a gene. It's also a gene. This is a sorry, this is capital A. Here we have capital B, capital C. Here A, B and C. And next slide we have something like this, which is A, B, C, A, B and C. Okay, so in this is a gene which has arrived from parent 1, and this is a gene which is arrived from parent 2. So basically here we're talking about nuclear DNA. So basically this nuclear DNA is basically biparental inheritance, right? This is biparental inheritance, right? So this gene has arrived from parent 1 and this gene has arrived from parent 2. So there will be a recombination. And this point is basically known as recombinant. This point is known as recombinant point, right? And basically what will happen here, there will be two molecular things will be used over here. Here we will be using molecular scissor. This here we are using molecular scissor, which is basically endonuclease. Endonuclease is molecular scissor. And next we'll be using which is molecular glue, which is molecular glue, which is ligase, right? And collectively this molecular scissor and this molecular glue are known as recombinase. They are known as recombinase. So basically by using this recombinase, there will be recombination of these two genes which have arrived from basically parent 1 and parent 2. And what will happen, they will shuffle. What will happen, this molecular scissor will basically cut these genes, and then the molecular glue, which is ligase, will attach them, right? And then they will be reciprocal. Okay, this is parent 1 and this is parent 2, As you can see, they have been shuffled, and this is basically known as, this thing is known as biparental inheritance, right? It is known as biparental inheritance. Now you'll be wondering that why does only BB have reciprocal, like why they have only B reciprocal, why not this A and C? Why? Because they are not linked. Okay, you'll be wondering that why only this B and B, because they are not linked. Now what does that mean? Okay, if you know, okay, what is linkage? Basically, linkage is basically the tendency of the genes to remain same from one generation to the next. Let me write, it is basically tendency of gene to remain same from one generation to other, right? So what is linkage? This is basically a tendency of a gene to remain same from one generation to other. So basically this BB are not linked, that's why we can easily cut them and we can easily shuffle them. Okay, now what you will be finding that what is the basically difference between heredity and inheritance? Okay, heredity and inheritance, right? What is the basic difference? What is the first thing that comes in your mind when you listen the word, when you basically hear the word heredity and inheritance? Basically heredity means the, you can say, for example, your mother has blue eye color and you also have blue eye color, so that is basically the, you can say, the particular character is same in both, like in the parent and the offspring. That is basically known as heredity. You can say here it is the, like when one character is passed from parents to offspring, that is known as heredity. Now what is basically inheritance? Inheritance is basically the passing of the whole component, like the DNA. The whole DNA is passed from the parents to the offspring, like we are talking about nuclear DNA, right? So that is inheritance, basically the passage of whole of a component, passage of a oops, passage of component from parents to offspring, basically that is known as inheritance. So where were we? That this mDNA is basically uniparent, it has uniparental inheritance, it doesn't have biparental inheritance, right? So it means that there can't be any kind of recombination, there no recombination will take place, there will be no recombination, and basically there will be very small changes, there will be very small changes as compared to other DNA, like compared to other DNA, for example, e.g. nuclear DNA, right? Now what does that mean? Basically there will be very small changes in the mitochondrial DNA, basically that will lead to evolution, which will actually, this is estimated to help in evolution, which will lead to which will lead to which will lead to evolution. Okay, so basically this help us to know about the species that are closely related to each other. This small changes, like they are very very small changes, which basically leads to evolution once, and it help us to identify the closely related species, right? So I hope this is clear to you. If you have any kind of queries, you can ask me in the comment section. I'll be very glad to